Before the primetime interview of Bruce Jenner, as he was then called, by Diane Sawyer on ABC's 2020 and 2015, many Americans had never had a conversation about transgender issues. It's a conversation we need to have, as radical doctrines of gender spread through the culture, into our schools and public policy. But political and cultural elites have tried to shut down the discussion before it starts by imposing a politically correct orthodoxy on the nation, an ideology in which gender identity is both a subjective matter and a category meriting civil rights protection. The Jenner interview wasn't the first media effort to normalize transgender identity, but it had an especially big impact. For one thing, it involved the celebrity Kardashian family. More surprisingly, it was about a famous Olympian, a decathlon champion who had been an image of powerful masculinity to millions of Americans. There was also the timing of the interview, the weekend before oral arguments at the Supreme Court on same-sex marriage. This allowed LGBT activists to emphasize a unity of purpose between the T and the LGB parts of their constituency, to the consternation of many gay and lesbian Americans, who feel that gender identity and sexual orientation have little in common. But the conjunction of events helped to represent the demands of transgender activists as another civil rights issue. Indeed, shortly after the Supreme Court redefined marriage, the Obama administration redefined sex to mean gender identity in our nation's civil rights laws, and then imposed these gender identity policies on schools and healthcare providers. The transgender cause was officially mainstream. Normalizing transgender identities in popular culture. Though the Jenner interview made a big splash, a series of earlier media events had been preparing the ground for our transgender moment. One was the premiere of Becoming Chaz at the Sundance Film Festival and on the Oprah Winfrey Network in 2011. The film tells the story of how Chastity Bono, the daughter of Sonny and Cher Bono, transitioned to identify as a man called Chaz at age 40. Media reports were punctilious in using the correct pronouns, encouraging viewers to follow Chaz Bono through a significant part of the process that took place in 2010, including hormone treatments and the surgical removal of his breasts. His breasts. These edgy locutions are popular in the media, giving us headlines like First Ever Pregnant Man and What It's Like to Chest Feed. Chastity Bono had been only a second-hand celebrity by contrast with Jenner, but many people saw Chaz on Dancing with the Stars in the autumn of 2011. The gender identity theme made its way into TV dramedy in 2013 with the popular Netflix show Orange is the New Black, featuring a transgender actor, Laverne Cox, in the role of a transgender prisoner. In 2014, Cox became the first person who openly identifies as transgender to appear on the cover of Time magazine, and the first to be nominated for an Emmy Award. Cox, a man who identifies as a woman, was named Woman of the Year for 2014 by Glamour magazine, whose editors declared that Cox teaches us that gender identity lives, first and foremost, in our hearts and minds. When the Chicago Sun-Times published a syndicated op-ed by Kevin Williamson, pointing out that Cox was in fact not a woman, activists forced the newspaper to retract the column and apologize. Dissent is not tolerated in the transgender moment.